Hello, and welcome to Piano Player Pro, your favourite classical tunes arranged for piano. Today, we're going to be playing the Moonlight Sonata by Beethoven, surely one of the most beautiful pieces ever written for the piano. The full sonata is in 3 movements. This is the opening movement, then there's a lighter middle movement, and a tempestuous and rather challenging finale, which we won't be attempting today, but it's well worth listening to. If you haven't already, then follow the link below and head over to the website pianoplayerpro.com, where you can find the sheet music, which is free to download. And while you're there, make sure you check out what other pieces you can learn. I'm regularly adding new pieces and content, so if you find this video helpful, then please hit the subscribe button below. In total, there are 4 arrangements of Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata for you to choose from, starting with level 1, and then getting progressively more difficult all the way up to level 4. This video is for the level 4 version, but feel free to take a look at the others. We're going to start off by playing the piece all the way through and from beginning to end, and then we'll go back section by section. So here is the level 4 arrangement of Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata. Okay, so there's plenty to learn there, plenty of notes, particularly in the right hand, but the left hand part becomes quite challenging in places as well, and particularly switching the left hand part at the same time as switching the right hand part. So let's go right back to the beginning then, where it starts simply enough. The right hand part is just playing 3 notes. It's using triplets all the way through, so each bar is divided into 3 notes. So each bar is divided into 4 beats, and each beat is divided into 3 notes. 1 and 2, 3, 4. Bar 2 is exactly the same. The left hand note changes, but the right hand note stays the same. Then there's a bit more movement in bar 3, so you move up to the B flat. And then after 2 beats, you've got to change. So the B flat now stays where it is and the other 2 fingers move, including the E flat. Okay, and then bar 4 is where things become a bit more tricky. So you've got this pattern. Each beat, which is 3 notes long, is a different chord. So you've got this chord. Okay, so A, C sharp, G, and then A, D, F. You keep the A and the D, but you move to the E, and then you move down to the G. Got quite a few ledger lines here to read. Down to G, C sharp, E, and then even further down to this note here, which is an F. Okay. Okay, we're going to stop there for the moment, which is the first 3 notes of bar 5. Just watch that again. So A, C sharp, G, A, D, F, A, D, E, G, C sharp, D, low F, A, D. And then you obviously try to play it as smoothly as possible. And then you bring your thumb up to play these 3 note patterns that you started on before. So the piece started with that, and the introduction, effectively the A section is the introduction, that starts and finishes with that same pattern. And the last 2 notes before you get into the B section, this part, that's really actually part of the tune, so even though it's in the A section, really it connects to the B section. So that's how that part goes. We're now going to have a look at the left hand part, which starts on a D. Obviously these semi-breves, 4 beats long, are actually very long because the pulse is so slow, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, or down to C, and it moves a bit quicker now. 2 beats on B flat, 2 beats on G, A, and then shift to your thumb, so you can reach all the way down to low D. Okay, which is a nice resonant note. So together, starts, as I said, simply enough. You're just playing the same pattern over and over again. The left hand note changes, the right hand note stays the same, but then things get a bit more tricky. So to B flat, down to G, and then bar 4, change to the thumb, and then down to low D. Okay, so that's how the two parts fit together. Quite challenging to get it really smooth. What you don't want to do is have lots of gaps. So gap while you think, gap while you think, more gaps. That's not a bad way to practice, to get used to those shifts. Shift. But ultimately you want it to move through without those gaps at all. Okay, so that's the A section. The B section is where the tune begins, and the tune is actually this top note here, and these lower notes are kind of the accompaniment carrying on. So the accompaniment is this triplet pattern in the right hand, and then the bass hand note. Okay, and that pattern really carries on all the way through the piece, but over the top of it you've now got this tune. So I've written it without that tune hanging on. I could have written that first note in the B section as a long note. And ultimately, you might want to do that because that then means the tune rings out more. But it gives you a few more challenges in terms of finding the fingers to use. Okay, so you can experiment with that a bit, and something that's going to really help you in this is using the pedal, which I'll talk about in a minute. So, let's just look at it first just to work out what the notes are. So A, here's the B section, low A, and the same thing again. To the B flat, low B flat, A, low A. So all those ones there, the top note and the bottom note are the same. So you're kind of playing in octaves, and then filling in a chord in the middle, if you see what I mean. So for example, from bar 7, and then bar 8, but then this condenses a bit, and then you've got this B flat. Now I want to play that with the thumb, but that makes stretching there really awkward. So what I've suggested you do, even though it feels a bit awkward, is from the beginning of bar 8, 5, 2, thumb, and that makes this stretch much easier. So watch that, go over with 2, under with the thumb, and then you've got 2 notes together. Okay, so you can experiment with that if you like, and then this pattern carries on. You'll notice that apart from this F, the rest of this pattern in bar 9 is almost identical to the pattern that you did in bar 5, but everything's just moved up 2 notes. Okay, the B section, you've just played low D, so you're now on, let's play the C sharp with our second finger. Second finger on the C, or you can put your thumb, and then take you down to F. So not too tricky, but again, it's the putting of the two together. So I'm going to start from the B section, but the 2 notes before we start, the 2 A's, and then the C sharp comes in with the third A, so the beginning of bar 6. Bar 6. So that's how the B section fits together. I said I'd talk a bit about pedal. Pedal is really going to help with this piece. If you're playing on a piano, you've probably got the pedals already. They're kind of fitted to the piano, and you want to use the right one, which is the sustain pedal. But you do need to be careful how you use it, so I'll explain how to use it. If you're playing on a keyboard, if it's a digital piano, it might have a pedal with it. If you have a keyboard, you can usually get a pedal that fits in the back, and it really helps with this kind of piece, you know, and pieces where you want it to sound smoother and you want it to sustain. What you've got to be careful of, if you just play the pedal, you just hold it down, then it sounds quite nice to start with, but gradually the sound just builds up and it gets a bit mushy. And it just sounds a bit foggy and a bit mushy, and actually if you play it on the piano, that effect can be even worse. So what you've got to do is clean the pedal, as in move it up and down. So usually your cue to clean the pedal, to change it, to lift it up, to release it, and then to reapply it, is following the left hand. So for example, in the B section, because there's only one note in the left hand, okay, then you can usually hold the pedal down for the whole bar. And that sounds fine. But as soon as you play a new note, that's when you need to reapply the pedal, reapply the pedal, reapply the pedal. And even though it's a repeated note, so it's C followed by another C, you're still going to reapply the pedal and reapply the pedal. Okay, so that's a fairly good rule to follow. Occasionally it doesn't work, so one place to be careful is bar 4, because you've got the chord changing every time. So the bass note only changes twice, 1, 2, 1, 2, but the chord above it is this chord, which is a very different chord from this chord. So if I play the two together, you hear that much. So really, even though I'm just playing the left-hand note twice, I'm going to change every beat. So pedal, 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 and then pedal. And I can hold it for the whole of that bar. So that's a particular case to watch out for. In terms of when you play the pedal, it's a little bit counterintuitive, because most people expect that as you press down the left-hand note, you press down the pedal at the same time. So you'd go down, then down, 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 and that's not actually correct. That's what you feel like you want to do, and everyone who starts pedaling, that's what you try to do. But actually what you need to do is you need to, when you press down the left-hand note, you lift up the pedal, releasing it, and then quickly press it down again. So you've got to get used to, if you're playing with the left hand, I'm just going to do the left hand on the pedal, when you press the note, it's an up, down, 2, 3, 4, up, down, 2, up, down for 2, up, down for 2, up, down for 2, and then up, down. So you've got to go up with the pedal as you're pressing down the left-hand note. So let's listen to the B section with the pedal. I'm going to play 2 notes before, then up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And I can hold that for that whole bar because there's just one left-hand note. Good, so that's the B section done. Let's have a look at the C section. So it starts in a very similar way, but just shifted up. So you've got the B flat, but again you've got this octave thing going. And then you're going to go up there with a 4. So you can see then the left-hand note, the chord is now changing more often. So if you are pedaling, you're going to need to do some quite quick pedaling there. Okay, the fingering is quite awkward to get that as smooth as possible. And that gets you to D. Okay, so have a look at that bit by bit, break it down. It starts fairly repetitive, but then the chords change quicker. C sharp, D, then E, thumb under, so it's easy to reach up for the F. 4 on the D there, C sharp, and to D. So there's various suggestions there for the fingers you use. With a lot of these things, it's partly to do with what you find comfortable and experimenting. Try and always do the same thing though. So if you change the fingering, that's absolutely fine, but try and always change it to the same thing. Don't just kind of make it up afresh each time, because then it makes it more difficult to remember it and learn it and do it consistently. So the left-hand part, again, not too difficult by itself. But you're then going down to the C sharp, and here you're going to put a thumb on the D, you're going to squash your hand up, down to the G, and then back up to the D. So together, from the 2 notes before C, Here's the C section with the pedal up, down. Now fast, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Okay, and then we get to the D section. So the C section is probably the most challenging of all the sections. The D section, good news, is not too difficult. You'll notice the left hand basically plays one note that you hold for 6 beats. It's a tied note, so it's 4 beats plus 2 beats. And bear in mind that each of those beats is subdivided into 3. So that's a very long note, and that means you can not only just hold that thing down, you can also hold your pedal down for this whole section, because it's all one chord. The D part you've just finished on 5, and what you're going to do is you're going to play these notes, and then each time you get to the top note of the new pattern, so it's the second note in each pair, you're going to squash down to the 5, squash, squash, squash down again, and then the left hand carries on that pattern. So let me show you that again. I'll go from bar 13 just so you get the swing of it. So you play these notes, then squash down on the A, squash down on the F with the 5th finger, squash down to the D, left hand taking over. Okay, and then you play the final chord, which is a D, an A, an F, and a G. That can be placed really nicely like that. So together, the D section, hold the pedal down. I'm going to lift it up here and play the last chord with the new fresh pedal. Okay, so you can hold the pedal actually all the way through bars 14 and 15, even though the left hand notes change. Just hold the pedal all the way through, down, and then lift up on the chord, down, and hold. So let's play the piece all the way through from beginning to the end. Here we go. So that was the level 4 version of Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata. Thanks for watching. I hope you found it helpful. If you have, then please hit the subscribe button below, as there's new pieces for you to learn coming out all the time. And remember, the music for all of them is free to download from the website pianoplayerpro.com. If you've got any questions or requests for future pieces, then please do get in touch via the comments section. Have a great day then, and happy practicing.